Welcome to Think Big with Dan and Qasim. Join hosts Dan Melnick and Qasim Masood as they explore big ideas, limitless possibilities, and engage with visionaries, entrepreneurs, and thought leaders who dare to dream big, get inspired, motivated, and find practical tips for personal growth. Think big, dream bigger, and ignite your potential.
Welcome to the Think Big with Dan and Qasim. Today, our guest is Saul. Saul, how are you doing today?
Yeah, very good. Thanks for having me on your podcast.
Thank you. So, let us know what are your responsibilities in your business?
So I'm one of the co-founders of TowerCap. Together with my partner, Dean, we started our business about 12 years ago. It's gone through a number of transitions. I think like any entrepreneur, you kind of start to develop an understanding of the market and the business, and our business has pivoted on a number of occasions. Again, kind of like every entrepreneur, my responsibilities are many, but by training, I'm a lawyer, so kind of my principal responsibilities are around the legal aspects of the business. But that really isn't a full description. It's everything from engaging with customers, business development, onboarding of customers onto our financing platform, assisting in the system development, and making coffee.
That's good. Awesome. This is the beauty of the job of a co-founder. They have to do a lot of things. They have to make a coffee as well.
Absolutely. I read an appropriate meme not so long ago, which went along the lines of, I used to work in a job from 8 to 5 for a salary, and I decided to go into business myself so I could work 24/7 for free. And I think there's often a lot of truth in that, certainly in the early phases of any entrepreneurial journey.
Yeah, exactly. In fact, when you are a founder, when you are a director, at that time you have to work around the clock. So makes sense. Awesome. So Saul, because you are looking into the client acquisition side as well, you must be looking into the marketing side as well, because marketing is directly associated with the sales side. Can you guide me? What's the process of your client acquisition? How you onboard a client?
Yeah, so a very good question. The product that TowerCap is selling is ultimately financing. So we're a factoring company. That means we purchase invoices from our clients, or purchase our clients' invoices, puts money into their business as soon as their invoices are approved, rather than having to wait out their customer terms. Because it's a financial product and because it's not a simple sale, the business development strategy varies, but it's very much it's a business to business product, and so it's very much a product that needs to be sold. It's not something that business owners, particularly kind of founders, necessarily even know about. And so, firstly, there's a lot of brand development, and that takes place through social media. LinkedIn is the primary social media space. Again, because of the nature of the product, it's very business focused. Developing the brand and developing kind of sufficient thought leadership in the space that people come to understand that you know what you're talking about. And then kind of a lot of our referral is from existing customers. That's been a very powerful place in terms of which we've brought on business. I guess hopefully that speaks to our service and to the successful customer journeys that we've been able to kind of provide. But again, because of the complexity of this product, the other sources are very often bankers, for instance, fractional CFOs, insurance brokers. It's kind of developing the agency model to a large degree, developing people who are speaking to our client base at a point in time that our clients are open to that particular message. But outside of that, again, kind of reaching out on LinkedIn to suitable profiles to people within our target market. That kind of encapsulates a lot of it. And then we've got business development people, again, who are working their contacts and working their age.
So in this whole process, are you utilizing the social media as well? or the digital marketing, I can say digital marketing and offline marketing as well?
And yeah, to some degree, certainly kind of I think in the current day and age, to run a successful LinkedIn profile is something that founders aren't necessarily good at themselves. It's not my area of speciality. Often I don't necessarily know the best format in which to develop or deliver that message, or the best way to make it happen. And so having someone for whom this is a focus is very important and very helpful.
Makes sense. Makes sense. So, Saul, interestingly, you have a very interesting background. In fact, can you guide us? What is this grid like a web behind you, like the TowerCap web, I believe?
Good question. So, like any business, again, I think there's a big market that can be addressed with most products.
Yeah.
But finding a niche is often very important. So being able to differentiate yourself from your competition, you can do in many different ways. But one way we found has been successful for us is by focusing on a particular sector of the economy. For us, that's really been green energy, telecommunications, EV charging, kind of the smart cities, and developing a deep understanding of your customer's market, your customer's business is I think one way to be able to develop business effectively. I think the grid is meant to represent kind of that space for us, the telecommunications, EV, etc.
Awesome, awesome. So, all right. So, let's talk about a little bit encouragement part of the entrepreneurship. So, in the journey of entrepreneurship, there are a lot of hurdles. There are a lot of challenges. Only a man with strong guts can survive this industry. So, I'm 100% sure you must have faced a lot of challenges. In fact, every entrepreneur faces many challenges. Every next day, they have to face a new challenge. So I'm sure you must have faced challenges. So, but can you please share one interesting challenge with us? And if you can share with us how you are able to cope up with it, this will be great.
Yeah, for sure. Sure. There's a long menu of them, so I need to I need carefully about which to pick. But and I think this one perhaps illustrates how often challenges can come at you from a space that you never anticipated. You know, one always thinks about risk in one's business. You can never encapsulate all of the possibilities. And this is one kind of small example, but perhaps illustrative is banking is a very important part of our business. We disperse tens of millions of dollars on a monthly basis to our clients. And we use a particular product around doing that and a banking platform to capture the money when it comes back from our clients' customers. So we're buying invoices from our clients. We're waiting out the payment terms from their customers, and their customers make payment back into our bank accounts. We had a relationship with a bank called First Republic Bank. It was a very good relationship. They were a very nimble bank and serviced us really well. We must have had about 40 bank accounts with them for multiple of our customers that they opened those accounts. I'm not sure if you cast your mind back about 3 years, there was a banking crisis when a couple of banks were under a lot of pressure and their customers withdrew all the money from the banks. There was a run on the banks. First Republic Bank was one of those banks, and we were very concerned that actually our whole business was exposed to the bad decisions of the bank, in respect of which we had no knowledge or any kind of understanding until that point in time. And so we had to pivot very quickly in order to find another banking partner, set up those 30 accounts. And as you know, opening up a bank account is never a simple thing. Getting 30, 40 of our customers to now reopen new accounts, have to change the details with their customers. A risk like that, as I say, very difficult to anticipate. And once you are faced with it, you have to be very methodical in the way in which you deal with it. You really need to kind of, we put a war room together. We set out the various steps that needed to take place, distributed the tasks amongst the team. Each of us had a responsibility, were assigned certain customers. All of this had to happen very quickly because there was a deadline which we really didn't understand even. Again, it was a deadline outside of our control. So that was, as I say, kind of one of the many situations where we were faced with problems. A problem we could never have anticipated. I think the learning from that particular experience for us, which with hindsight is common sense, is that you need more than one relationship when it comes to key vendors and key suppliers. And in that instance, we were entirely dependent around one bank. We have subsequently formed multiple relationships, and we spread those accounts throughout a number of different banks. But I guess that it was a lot of late nights and a lot of early mornings and more coffee than was healthy.
Makes sense. Well, so nowadays AI is spreading like a virus, and it's the buzzword right now. So do you think in your business there is anything to do with AI? AI can harm your business, or maybe AI can benefit your business? Is there any sort of like possibility?
Yeah, absolutely. I think like everybody, one hears the buzzword and there's a lot of excitement around it, but actually drilling down to the detail and understanding what this can really mean for your business is a very different exercise. From our business perspective, we've utilized it, I think, in the same way as many people do. Business writing is certainly, AI does it really well. I think I write good emails. When I put it into AI, they often come out much better. And that's at the basic level. But from a more sophisticated perspective, what we are doing at the moment, for instance, is a lot of our human capital is spent looking at approval emails from the customers whose invoices we're factoring. So it's a very manual process. There's a lot of thinking that has to be done around what it is that you're seeing and what does that information mean. We're in the process of training an AI model at the moment to automate as much of that process as possible. So to be essentially sitting on top of our accounts inbox and to be looking at the emails as they come in, to be pushing them into the appropriate queues and to be monitoring for those approval emails, to be filtering out all of the noise, extracting information off the invoices that are attached to those emails, pushing those into our loan management system. And so far, it's a process that's taken us a little bit longer than we anticipated. We're working with very effective partners. But once we get that right, it absolutely means ability to scale with not much more human resources required, and the ability to just do business more quickly and more effectively.
Makes sense. Awesome. So what are your short-term goals, like in maybe 4 to 6 months?
So much of our business, as is the case with everyone's business, is about client acquisition and business development. So from the front end of the business, if you want to describe it like that, it's making sure that our sales pipeline is filled with the right kind of leads, and we're having the right kind of discussions with those prospects. And then continuously iterating our RT stack. I think again, for any business, you have to be, technology is a journey. There's never any end date to that, and making sure that you're getting the best efficiency you can out of the processes and the technology that you've installed in your business. So for us, those are always ongoing processes, and we're always attempting to refine and better those processes.
So at the end, what would be your biggest piece of advice for our other entrepreneurs who are our viewers? And in our viewers, there are some people who are planning to be their own boss. So
yeah, I'd say a fair question and probably a complicated question. If I think about our particular journey, and I don't think I'm delivering a new message that people wouldn't have heard, but I think there's a lot of truth in it, is resiliency is such an important thing when it comes to running your own business. You're constantly faced with difficulties. You're constantly faced with challenges. Many of them can feel overwhelming, and many of them can feel like it looks like the end of the road. And the ability to keep moving forward, to keep just on course and keep positive, keep excited about your business. All of that is so important. It's easy to say, it's less easy to do in practice. But being excited about the thing that you do and spending, you spend your whole day at work. You need to try and have as much fun in as serious a way as possible.
Awesome. That's a great advice. Well said. So, Saul, at the end, please let our viewers know how they can reach you. You can share your website or social media handles, whatever you want to share.
Perfect. I appreciate that. Yeah, our company is called TowerCap. Our website's towercap.com, and my email address is saul@towercap.com. That's the easiest way to get in touch with us. We're very responsive, and I'd love to hear from any of your viewers. And it certainly doesn't need to be with a business inquiry. If anyone found anything that I've said interesting, I'm more than happy to engage in discussion outside of business. But I really appreciate the opportunity to be on your podcast and spend a bit of time with you.
Mind. Well, thank you, Saul. It was really nice to talk to you, and hopefully we will stay in touch. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much.
Have a good day. Bye-bye.